Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Universal English with Happy. I am Happy Verma, your English language coach. Today we are going to take a deep dive in the English language where it is really important for several things, including your daily conversations, either informal ones or semi-formal ones. So today we are going to bridge the gap between structured grammar rules and natural native level spoken fluency by decoding how phrasal verbs and idioms function in everyday conversation. You will unlock a higher level of listening comprehension, excessive nuance, and professional confidence. Whether you are preparing for high level business negotiations or casual social interactions, this comprehensive guide will give you the tools you need. So let's dive in. We'll begin with a journey with Module 1, dedicated entirely to phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are arguably the single most important engine powering informal and semi-formal English. In this first half, we will deconstruct their underlying structural mechanics, examine how word order and syntax alter their meaning, and break down high-frequency phrasal verbs across business, social connections, and daily travel. So, what exactly is a phrasal verb? At its simplest, a phrasal verb is a combination of a base verb paired with a particle, which is usually a preposition or an adverb. But here's the trick. When these two elements combine, they form a unified expression with an entirely new meaning that you often cannot guess simply by looking at the dictionary definition of each word separately. For example, take the base verb. What do we take? Let's take look, which means to direct your eyes towards something. Pair it with the preposition after. Here, preposition is after. And suddenly, look after. When we have combined both, so it has made look after. Means to take care of or guard someone or something. Attempting to translate these word for word into a native language usually causes confusion. Learning them as single visual chunks is the secret to sounding fluid and natural. To master phrasal verbs grammatically, it helps to classify them into three primary categories. First, we have separable phrasal verbs. Here, the direct object can either sit after the particle or split the verb and particle apart. You can say, turn off the light or turn the light off. But pay close attention. If the direct object is a pronoun like it or them, you must separate them. Turn it off. Never turn off it. Did you understand? First one was correct. Turn it off. And never do or say turn off it. Because it will change the whole meaning of it. Second, we have inseparable phrasal verbs. With these, the particle must stay glued to the verb. For example, you say, she runs into her friend. But you can never split them by saying she runs her friend into. Now, finally, we have intransitive phrasal verbs. These do not take a direct object at all. A classic example is the airplane took off smoothly. Understanding these three categories prevents common syntax errors in both writing and speech. In professional environments, using phrasal verbs allow you to strike the perfect balance between professional authority and natural approachability. Consider these four power verbs. First, to carry out means to execute or implement a project or audit. Next, to bring up means introducing a new topic or agenda item during a meeting. For example, he brought up the budget constraints. If management decides to cancel an event entirely, they will call off the meeting. So here, the phrasal verb is call off. And when someone complains or completes a promised action item end to end, we say they follow through. What it is here? Follow through. Using these expressions in workplace emails or conference calls makes your communication sound precise and effortlessly professional. When building personal and professional relationships, relation phrasal verbs express human connection far better than formal single word verbs. When two people have a friendly, smooth friendship without conflict, we say they get along well. Get along, right? When you know someone is dependable and trustworthy in critical moments, you know you can count on them. Count on. And when you bump into an acquaintance unexpectedly while walking through town or grabbing coffee, you ran into them. You ran into. Or in the present one, you can say run into. Notice how warm and conversation these sound compared to formal equivalents like encountering or relying upon. Now, navigating journeys, transit, and physical active environments requires dedicated movement verbs. When arriving at the airport desk or hotel lobby to confirm your reservation, you check in. When embarkation begins for a long road trip or cross country adventure, you set off on journey. And if a tour guide or walking partner is moving at a rapid pace ahead of you, you have to expert expert extra effort to keep up. What it is here? It's keep up. Mastering these words ensures you can navigate real world travel scenarios seamlessly. Now, if you want to maximize your learning efficiency, leverage the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. In English, a tiny handful of root verbs generate the vast majority of daily phrasal combinations. As displayed on this chart, the root verb get leads the pack with over 60 high frequency phrasal combinations. It is followed closely by take, go, and put. By mastering how particles alter the core meaning of just these four root verbs, you expand your functional vocabulary exponentially with minimal mental effort. Let's zoom in our four essential expressions proved by the dynamic verb get. Get, get. To get over something means recovering from an illness, heartbreak, or disappointment. It took her a week to get over the flu. To get by means surviving or managing financially with limited resources. To get away refers to taking a short holiday or escaping daily work stress. And when it's time to stop chatting, eliminate distractions, and focus deeply on work. You say, let's get down to business. Practice these four, and you'll immediately notice them everywhere in podcasts and movies. Here is a fascinating linguistic statistic. Native English speakers use phrasal verbs in more than 80% of informal spoken exchanges, while non-native speakers often rely on formal verbs like postpone, reflect, or examine. Native speakers naturally default to put off, turn down, and look into. Knowing formal verbs is fine for academic writing, but incorporating phrasal verbs into your spoken English is what makes your speech sound natural, relaxed, and authenticated. Welcome to Module 2, Idiomatic English. Now that we have covered the functional mechanics of phrasal verbs, we are shifting our focus to figurative expressions, cultural metaphors, and colorful imagery that give English its distinct flair and personality. Now, what exactly is an idiom? Spilling the beans. It has absolutely nothing to do with cooking or groceries. It means inadvertently revealing a secret. Idioms carry rich cultural, historical, folklore, and humor. Because the meanings are figurative, learning them in context gives you deep insight into how native speakers think and view the world. English relies heavily on vivid metaphors to subscribe time, speed, and frequency. When an event happens extremely rarely, we say it occurs once in a blue moon, like visiting a distant relative. Working continuously without taking breaks is described as working around the clock. And when someone completes a project, signs a contract, or submits an assignment at the final second before a deadline, it happens at the 11th hour. These expressions paint clear mental pictures for your listener. When evaluating work ethic, achievement, and problem solving, several key idioms dominate the conversation. If someone states the truth with exact accuracy, they hit the nail on the head. When you must courageously face a painful or difficult situation that cannot be avoided, you bite the bullet. Studying or working late into the night is famously known as burning the midnight oil. Conversely, taking cheap shortcuts that sacrifice safety or quality is known as cutting corners. A practice every good listener, every good professional avoids. Idioms are the ultimate tool for expressing emotional states with nuance. Being in cloud nine or on cloud nine or over the moon both communicate overwhelming joy, excitement, and accomplishment. Like hearing great career news. On the flip side, if you are feeling slightly ill, fatigued, or under physical stress, you describe yourself as feeling under the weather. Using these phrases help you build emotional resonance with your listener for better than simple words like happy or sick. In corporate strategy, sales, and financial decisions, idiomatic expressions appear constantly. If a product or service is outrageously expensive, it costs an arm and a leg. When you have presented your final proposal and are waiting for the client to decide, the ball is in their court. The ball is in their court. If a strategic initiative fails and you must restart from scratch, you go back to square one, back to square one. And when a purchase is reasonable and affordable, you can confidently state that it won't break the bank. What? Break the bank. That's right. As visualized here on fluency curve, transitioning from intermediate comprehension to advanced, native-like delivery requires more than just accumulating traditional vocabulary. Integrating idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs is the primary catalyst that flattens the learning curve. It enables you to stop translating word for word in your head and start thinking directly in English. To retain and apply these phrases effectively, follow this proven four-step roadmap. Step 1 is exposure. Actively spot these expressions while listening to podcasts or reading articles. Step 2 is deconstruction. Analyze whether a phrasal verb is separable or inseparable, or what metaphor and idiom uses. Step 3 is contextual practice. Write your own personalized sentence reflecting your actual life. And step 4 is active usage. Consciously challenge yourself to use two new expressions in your conversations every week. To recap, the structural differences between our two main topics, phrasal verbs function, dynamic verb units within a sentence. They conjugate across tenses and adopt agrammatical rules. Idioms, on the other hand, functions as fixed figurative expressions, nouns, or standalone clauses, while phrasal verbs provide grammatical rhythm and informal flow. Idioms add color, humor, and cultural texture to your storytelling. To leave you with an inspiring thought by Emperor Charles V, to learn a language is to have one more window from which to look at the world. Every single phrasal verb and idiom you master isn't just a piece of grammar. It is a fresh window that broadens your global perspective and deepens your connections with others. Thank you so much for joining today's deep dive into mastering phrasal verbs and idioms. Keep practicing daily, experiment with these phrases in your conversations, and feel free to leave any questions of your own example sentences in the discussion below. And thank you so much for being with me till the end of the video. And thank you so much for liking my channel, Universal English with Happy. There is a subscribe button below. Please do not forget to subscribe it and press the bell icon so you never miss an update. Happy teaching and happy learning for students and teachers.
वीडियोस बनाने हैं फिल्मोरा है ना।